Hello, in this video I'm going to talk to you about beat effects. Now, beat effects are found in most professional Pioneer mixers and are now commonly found in the same layout on entry-level controllers such as the DJing line. In this video I'm going to show you how awesome beat effects are and how you can implement them in your mixes. So, beat effects are effects which you can apply to any or all of the decks in your mixes. These effects range from echoes to reverbs, flangers, rolls, and much more. Now, the first step is turning on the effects module, and in order to do this, you have to push this button here. Now, again, if you recall from the previous video, when the button is flashing, that means the effect module is turned on. When the button light is static, that means the effect is turned off. Now, after you turn the effect on and the button is flashing, you still have to turn up the level depth knob in order to apply the effect. For this reason, I recommend to always leave the effect on. In other words, always have the button flashing and simply determine when you apply the effect by turning up the level depth. Something else you should know about the level depth knob is that if you twist it beyond 12 o'clock, in other words, beyond the center point, the effect output becomes much more prominent than the non-affected dry signal, meaning the effect overpowers the entire mix. Therefore, the max I would really turn this up to is around 12 o'clock, no further than that. Okay, back to the rest of the parameters here. So above the level depth knob, we have a time knob. Now we'll get to this in just a minute. Above this, however, we have a channel selector switch. This allows us to select which channel the effect will be applied to. On my mixer, I've got crossfader A and B, so that's side A and side B. The microphone channel, so if I've got a microphone plugged in and I want to apply an effect to that. Channels 1 through 4, that's the input channels over here, and you can see it represented with a light. And then finally, the master channel, which would be anything that you're feeding through the master channel. Now, just to make sure you understand exactly what this does, this determines which of the channels on your mixer the effect will be applied to. And if you want all the channels that are feeding out to your club or event speakers, have it on the master channel, as that will be anything feeding out to those speakers. Now, above this, we have the effect selector switch, which determines what effect will be applied. And we'll cover a lot of these a bit later on. Then above this, on some mixers, such as this one here, we have a 3-band switch. This allows me to determine what part of the frequency region the effect will be applied on. For example, if I toggle low off, then any effect that I apply won't affect the low frequencies, in other words, the bass of the track. Now above that, we have a beat selector with a left and a right button, which we'll get to in just a second. So the most commonly used effect by far is the echo. This is because it causes quick repetitions in the track, so it can be used to make a transition smoother or increase the tension during a build-up. So I'll set the echo on, target channel 3, make sure the effect module is on, I'll press play on the track, turn up the level depth so that you can hear the effect. Echo in, echo out, echo in, and then when I fade down the track, the echo slowly fades out, kind of like a reverb tail, and we call this an echo tail. And that's what can make a transition smoother. I'll show you how to apply this in just a minute. Now, the beat buttons are very important. This is because I can increase or decrease the note value of the echo. In other words, how quickly the repetitions occur. Let me demonstrate. If I want to increase the speed of those repetitions, I can push the left button, and now it's every quarter beat that they repeat. Push it again. Now, depending on the effect you have selected, the beat buttons actually do something different. For example, if I select the reverb effect, now they control the size of the reverb. In other words, how big or intense the reverb effect that is being applied is. Now there is also a time knob over here, which I skipped past before. This is because this is closely related to the beat buttons. You see, by using the beat buttons, it changes the note values or intensities of the effect in chunks. So as you can see with the reverb, it goes from 25, this is percent, to 50%, 75%, 90%, and 100%, and all the way starting at 1%. However, with the time knob, I can change the size of the reverb 1% at a time. Like this. As I twist it to the right, it goes up in percent. Twist it to the left, it goes down in percent. Now, if you don't know what these are, they're basically letting you know that in relation to your tempo, a delay will be created every quarter of a beat, or every half a beat, or every eighth of a beat, and so on. Whereas with the time knob, you can adjust the speed of the delay in milliseconds, which is fine for certain effects, but it means it's very likely your delays will be out of sync with your tempo and they won't sound too good. So for now, as a rule of thumb, use the beat buttons and avoid using the time knob. If you do nudge the time knob by accident, it's fine. Push one of the beat buttons and your tempo will be quantized once again. Okay, glad we got through that. Now I'm going to show you the first method in which you should start using the beat effects, and towards the end of the course there will be more videos with some cool techniques you can pick up and add to your arsenal of tricks. So for now, I want you to focus on using the echo because it's an effect that can really make your transitions smoother, especially when mixing hip hop and R&B music. This is because if you try applying some echo just before turning down the volume of the track, the delays make it feel as though it's gradually being faded out. Just like this. Apply some echo, turn it down, and they gradually fade out. So the way I want you to apply it is actually quite simple for now. Just before you fade down your outgoing track, you're going to apply some echo. So the whole transition sequence will be the same as what you've learned so far. So if this was my master track, I would need to set my echo to be applied on channel 2, as that is linked to channel 2, and that's the track that will be faded out. And the sequence would be quite simple. I would start this track, beat match it, turn the low EQ down, turn up the track, swap the low EQs, however you want to do that. And then before I turn down this channel fader, I would apply a bit of echo starting on bar 7. So we go 7, 2, 3, 4, 8, 2, 3, 4, 1. Abruptly fade down the volume, and it's going to add a little bit of an echo tail, making the whole transition smoother. Now remember, once you finish the transition and you've turned down the outgoing track's volume, turn the level depth of the echo back down slowly. Don't do it too quickly because you're going to cut away that echo tail that would have been generated. So turn this down and then swap the channel in which the effect is active on. Because if you want to use the same effect on your next track, you've got to make sure you place the echo to target the outgoing track. In this case, that would be channel 3. So I'm going to quickly go through mixing 2 tracks and show you this in practice. I'll start with channel 2 as my master track. My BPMs are fine, the cue points are set correctly, and I'll target the effect on channel 2. Let's go. Now, I'm also going to turn on the headphone cue of my incoming track so that I can hear it through the headphones. track and start mixing it in. 5, 6, 7, 8, 2, 3, 4, play. Start beat matching. Beat matching is good. I'm going to turn down the low EQ, turn the mid and the high down a little, and then I'll turn up the volume. 2, 3, 4, 1. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 2, 3, 4. Now I've swapped the low EQs. At the end of this phrase, I'm going to apply some echo and then turn down the volume. 6, 7, start the echo. 8, 2, 3, 4, 1. Fantastic. Hopefully you noticed how much more seamless that transition sounded than the previous versions of the transition that I've taught you. That's because the echo adds a lovely delay tail that fades out gradually, which can just make the whole transition sound a lot smoother. Now I'm going to go through this transition once more, but this time I'm going to use the filter to take out the outgoing track in combination with the echo. Now I showed you how to use the filter in the previous video, so it's going to be the same thing, but this time adding the echo. So deck 2 is going to be my master track, deck 1 is going to be my incoming track. So I need to make sure everything's set up correctly. Headphone cue needs to be on my incoming track. The filter needs to be active, so the sound color effects buttons here, I need to push on the filter, and when it's flashing I know that now when I twist this, the filter will be turned on. The echo module's on, but I need to target channel 3, which is my next outgoing track. Remember, the echo needs to be set on the track that you're fading out in order to utilize it for this kind of transition. All right, now I'm going to set this track to just before the drop because that's the part I'm going to use to mix in the next track. Let's begin. Five, 6, 7, 8, 2, 3, 4, 1. I'm going to beat match now. 5, low EQ down and then volume goes up. 7, 8, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. On filter on 5, 6, and then echo on 7, 7, 8, 2, 3, 4, 1. We're fully into the new track. Then I'll just make sure all my EQs are set to 12 o'clock. Now hopefully you picked that out. Now what I did, just to recap, this was my master track, this was my incoming track. So I started it and then I beat matched it and then turned up the volume at the beginning of a phrase. Then on bar 5, I started twisting the filter of the outgoing track to the right. That was cutting away the low frequencies, making the track thinner. On bar 7, I started turning up the echo. And then on bar 1, so we go 7, 2, 3, 4, 8, 2, 3, 4. And on bar 1, I turned the volume down with the echo having been applied, making the fade out smooth, and turned up the low EQ of the new track. So one more time, we're like this. New phrase, press play, beat match. Another new phrase, turn up the volume. On bar 5, turn up the filter slowly. On bar 7, turn up the echo. On bar 1, transition like this. You must remember, once you finish this transition, to slowly turn the level depth of the echo down, switch the target to channel 2, if you want to use this kind of transition again on your next track. Swap your headphone cues and put the filter back to the middle. Otherwise, as soon as you bring in your next track, that filter will already be applied from the get-go, which we don't want. Okay, I know that's a lot to take in, so if you need to watch the video again, go ahead and do so. This is an extremely powerful tool which you can use to substantially improve the quality of your mixes. So go ahead and practice this, and I'll see you in the next video.